thank you very much for being back in time. So I'm happy to present Elad Ben-Hur. So let me just give a quick introduction of who this very tall man in front of
Not
me
so
is.
tall.
So
Kind
his
of.
topic is unlocking your secret communication skills, and people often ask him how he became such a strong communicator, and his answer is that's because he has 5 kids.
True story.
True story, all right. So through that experience, to learn to listen with intention, to stay present under pressure, and to create clarity even in the moments of complexity, the exact skills that elevate agile leaders and transform team dynamics. In today's session, you can expect depth practical tools, insights you'll remember long after the summit, and a few meaningful surprises designed to shift the way you think about communication. So please welcome Elad Ben-Hur.
I am a champion. You are a champion. You are a champion. In effect, all of us are champions. And we are champions from the day we were born. But something happened along the way. Something changed. From the moment we are stepping our first step in the world, through grades at school, titles at the university, and even roles at work, and even like on social media, we are all being measured. We are all in the same race. So if we are succeeding, it means we are winners. And if we fail, it means we are losers. If we are succeeding, we are feeling high. And when we fail, we're feeling low. And when we're feeling low, we don't feel like champions. And this is something that I want to change today, this shift of mindset. Because we are champions no matter what. Okay? And if we are champions, we will not stop by any outcome. You probably think of the world champions of people like Messi or Michael Jordan, right? People that hold trophies and people are cheering their names. But let me tell you a story when I was a young Scrum Master. My team failed to deliver on time. And everyone was so low and depressed and not motivated and quiet and sad. And then suddenly, someone stood up and said, as long as we learn from our mistakes, we cannot really fail. So let's cheer up and let's move forward. And then all of us look at each other and start smiling and waking up and start clapping our hands. And from that point on, we delivered on time real value to our customers every time. So this is a champion to you, okay? A one that stood up with courage, said the right word at the right time, and moved us all forward. So when I say welcome champions, actually I'm referring to you all. Okay, the one that shape cultures, that move people forward. So, welcome champion to you. And today we will learn how to communicate like champions. This is an interactive session. You all got a kit with a summary of the practical tools that we will learn today, plus a workbook, and you got 2 cards in 2 different colors, yellow and light blue. From time to time, I will ask you questions that doesn't necessarily have a right answer. It's more about your opinion. But I want to say that your answers might shape this session itself. So the power is in your hand. So based on what I ask you, or tell you how I see champions are, do you feel like a champion? If you always think like a champion, please yes the yellow, and if not, please raise the light blue. Okay. Why the light blue? Someone wants to share? Do you want to share why it's light blue?
I think that we are not always
Speak closer.
champions. I think that we are not always champions. Maybe I think so, and I think so. But it's better to feel always like this.
Okay. Thank you. Someone else wants to share?
Hello, thank you for the question. First of all, say for me, champion is correlates with a victory. So, as I one of the agile values, let's say for being openness, if you're a true, real champion, you should admit that there's a failure as well. So, pretending that I am feeling myself always as a champion, I think it's a little bit, how to say, scary for me.
Okay.
So, thank you.
What is your name?
Rashad.
Thank you for sharing. Thanks, Rashad. So I hope, or I know that in the last or the next few minutes, I hope that you will shift your mindset. Because I want to introduce you a real champion that maybe, I don't know, maybe you're familiar with. You're familiar with this national hero? What is her name? No one knows. You need to shout it. So let's have Maria. Maria is with us today. Oh no, sorry, it's not with us. It was supposed to be, but she couldn't come, but she is near the street. So yes, Maria Stadnik. What a national hero, a real champion. And how I know that she is a champion? By the way, all the things, all the titles that she won, amazing, right? 4 Olympic medals, European champions, world champions, etc. So, how I know that she is a champion? Because she was not always succeeding, right? There was a lot of ups and downs in her career, right? She, by the way, didn't even won the gold medal. But she, over time, she overcome it. As you can see, for 4 decades in a row, or sorry, 3 decades, she was almost every year in the top as a female wrestler. So although she didn't won the gold medal, she was always a champion, and she overcome things or years that she was less good in them. So she is a real champion. And also other champions like Michael Phelps, Simon Biles, and Noah Lyles, and also many other champions. By the way, those are pictures from the lowest point in their career, okay? They have some mental issues. So they were in the top of their career, and suddenly, in the top of their career, they fail. Someday. But why? Okay, because we have 2 reasons. Reason number 1, the more successful you are, the more pressure you will feel on your shoulder. The second thing, maybe even the important one, if your self-worth is only based on success, so when you will fail, suddenly failed, you will fail deeply. So this is what happened to them, and it was very hard to overcome it. So a gold medal is a very nice thing, it's a wonderful thing, but if you are not good without it, of course, you will not be good with it. You will not be like one person okay? Because you only feel like, okay, when you are succeeding. When you are failed, you not feel comfortable with yourself. And by the way, if you are taking it to our world, who is a Scrum Master here? On what Scrum Master is measured? What is like the gold medal of a Scrum Master, in your view? You know? You want to share? On what you measured? Like on daily basis?
In the daily basis, I think when my team are happy, I'm happy with this, and I think I actually.
Don't look at the meme itself.
Okay.
It doesn't relevant until the end. But you are measuring on what? On the team health, let's say? Okay, thank you. Someone else wants to share on one Scrum Master is measured? Thank you.
Thank you. I think the success of Scrum Master is when their teams are independent, self-managed, and cross-functional, and can manage and solve problems solely by themselves and align with other teams by themselves.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing. So what you're saying, like, to transform the team to be self-management, let's say. Okay. So this is exactly what is this meme all about, and I love memes. So what is the real thing that Scrum Master should do? So what do you think? Let's vote on yellow and light blue. What do you think? It depends. Why it depends?
I guess maybe there are some times that team is very busy for completing a certain milestone and strict deadlines. So Scrum Master can solve all the problems for a certain period, but not always, of course. And sometimes, usually, they can let them solve by themselves. I think so. It depends.
Thank you very much. Exactly. I completely agree with you. So how I see it, it's like short term, long term. On the short term, you want to unblock your team members that they will only focus on what they need to do. If a developer needs to develop code, for example, so you need to unblock him as soon as possible so that he will continue his work. But on the long run, as we said there, we want that it will be self-management. The team will be self-management, right? So it really depends what we want in the short term or in the long term. But if we are talking now about champions, okay, about how Scrum Master is measured. So if, for example, a Scrum Master is amazing for 10 sprints in a row, okay, he was amazing, like the team was amazing, the done versus plan was high, we delivered real value to our customers. As a Scrum Master, I unblocked all the people. I reduced the risk and dependencies for 10 sprints. And then suddenly, in the next 2 or 3 sprints, let's say the done versus plan was very low. So what does it mean? So does it mean that I'm a less good Scrum Master? Right? Of course not. Because I'm always like a champion Scrum Master, and I will always be. So I need to overcome it with myself as a Scrum Master and with my team. So to conclude the idea, we want to give 100% for the result, but we don't want the result will be 100% of who we are. But how can we do it? We can do it by asking ourselves the following question. Who am I without my titles? Who am I without my job, my result, my success, my achievements? Who am I? I don't know if you ever thought about it. It might be a scary thought, but it's, you know, maybe even in the era of AI, maybe even titles will be irrelevant. So maybe it will be even the reality. So who we really are, and if we will answer it, we will know who we are really deeply, and then we can know who we are as a champion. So, again, it can be a frightening or scary thought, but when we are introducing ourselves, we are basically, in most of the cases, in most of the time, right, we are introducing ourselves with our title, job, result, and etc., etc. Why we are doing it? We want to feel worthy, okay, by ourselves, and we want that the person that we are talking with will feel worthy as well. So how all of this relate to communication, right? It's a communication skills session. So two things. If you are talking, okay, as without all those titles, and you know yourself who you really are, so it's easier to connect with other people, right? You can really connect with a person, not only with titles. Titles, achievements, it's nice, but it's data that can be taken for LinkedIn, for example, right? So if we are revealing what our hopes, what our personal goals, who we really are, what is our characteristics, so it's much easier to connect. And the second thing is if we and our team will be in the same mindset, okay? So it will be much easier to reach our goal as a team. We will think the same, and we will connect better, and our Scrum meetings will have much more depth. So I know let's say in the next few slides, you will see some researchers and studies that I learned in the long the year, and I implement them in my teams, and I saw how it works, and I hope that it can works also for you. So those are simple to implement techniques that I encourage you to use very soon. So as the one who obsessed with communication, if you are a technically skills 10 out of 10, but the communication skills is only 5 out of 10. So what is your overall? 5 or 10? Let's vote. Why both? Between? Like the average? Okay. So, regarding communication skills, you are only as good as your communication skills. So if your communication skill is 5, it means that you cannot amplify your technical skills. Your technical voice cannot be heard. Okay, and it cannot be amplified in your team or even in your organization. So that's why we will learn together how to become a super communicator. By the way, it's the background of Baku. So who are those super communicators? Super communicators are not necessarily the smartest people in the room or the one that have leadership skills. They are one that connect between people, that they are good listeners, that they are listening before they are really talking. And they are connecting people and giving depth to the Scrum events and other team events. And every Scrum team needs to have at least one super communicator. So are you ready to become one? I don't hear you. Is it yes? Okay, so let's start. And I want to start with a story. The story is about when I was, it's a confession, okay? 15 years ago, I got my first team to lead. Until that point, I didn't have any experience in leading, so I thought how hard it could be. So eventually, it turned out to be very, very difficult. You see, I didn't have any experience in it, but every time that I talked, yes, my calendar was full and my mouth was working non-stop, but something strange kept happening. Every time that I start speaking, people will look at me like I'm reading them the IKEA instructions in Swedish. So I didn't know why. It was really strange to me. So one day, a developer came to me and said that some team members feeling frustrated because they think that other team members, they're shouting their voice, that their voice cannot be heard, that the innovation idea cannot be heard. So he asked me what to do. So I gathered all the people, all the team, and I said to them, like I thought it could be like a practical solution. Let's define the role of every team members. So after the meeting, all those people that had complaints, they came to me and said, why aren't you supporting us? You should be outraged on the behalf of us. So for me, it was very interesting because I thought that I'm giving them a good solution. But apparently, it was not good communication. It was not a good conversation. So before we are really deep dive to the first practical technique, we need to understand one thing. We think of a discussion as one conversation. But the reality is that each conversation has many, many different conversations. So it's not one conversation and one discussion. It's one discussion with many conversations. And those conversations tend to fall to the following three buckets. There is this practical conversation, what is really about, what we want to solve, what is our solutions. And it's lean into data and reasoning. There is this emotional conversation about how do we feel. We want to share our feelings. We don't want to solve anything, we just want to emphasize. And it's emotional conversation lead into stories and empathy. And there is this social conversation about who are we? What the society wants for us and what we want from the society in return. And it's lean into identity and relationships. And what the researchers found is that if people have different kind of conversation at the same time, they cannot really hear each other. They cannot really connect. And that's what exactly happened to me and my team, right? They came to me and said that they have an issue that people cannot hear themselves, hear their ideas. They were having an emotional conversation, and I was obsessed with giving them solution, and I was in a practical conversation. So they were both legit conversation. But because we didn't have the same conversation at the same time, we didn't really hear each other. We really can connect. And this principle got a name by the researchers, and it's called the magic principle. The magic principle said that connection requires recognizing in which conversation you are, and only then you can connect. So it means, so if you are in practical conversation and the other guy supposed to be also in practical only, then you can connect. Also emotional and emotional. Social and social. If not, we cannot hear each other. So how can we know in which conversation we are? With deep questions. It's very easy. What is those deep questions? Deep questions are about experiences, passions, dreams, values. So when we are revealing those things, we are like answering or saying deep questions that give us or reveal us who are the person really are. So let me give you some examples. But before that, we need to know that the greatest discovery, they are not finding by answering the right question, right answer, but asking the right questions. So for example, there is the surface level question, let's say the regular questions, that talking about data, okay, and in most of the cases doesn't really reveal things. They were not really into meaningful conversation. And there is the deep questions, that those deep questions, as we said, give depth to a conversation and become meaningful ones. So instead of asking a surface level question such as, how long have you been in this company? We can ask a deep question of, what is the most rewarding part of your time here? You see, it's like the same question, but these have more depth. This will reveal more about the person. Instead of asking, where do you work? We can ask, what do you love about your job? And this is also applied for Scrum event, if we will use deep questions. So those are examples to all the Scrum events, and these are just examples to deep questions that if we will ask them during the Scrum events, it will give us much more depth and discussion. And discussion will lead eventually to success, right? And to the team's goal. So we start to using deep questions. So what do you think? Deep questions are about our feelings or are about our facts? To summarize all the idea. Right. About our feelings. More feelings, less facts. So to conclude it, instead of asking about the facts of someone's lives or work, we should ask them about how they feel about their life of work. Because again, we will do so, they will reveal of who they really are. And again, that will eventually give a meaningful conversation and will lead to our success. And the opposite might lead to a failure. A research that was done in the last few years, 86% of executives and employees cite a lack of communication as the #1 reason to workplace and project failures. Again, it's not, the project doesn't fail because a lot of bugs, a lot of tech debt, a lot of other reasons. It was lack of communication. It's like emotional depth. And the #1 obstacle for effective communication is the alignment between the sender's intent, the message itself, and what the receiver hears. So if the sender don't understand the receiver and vice versa, they cannot really connect. This leads to misalignment and miscommunication between the sender and the receiver. And to overcome it, we should use a simple powerful technique called looping for understanding. Looping for understanding have 3 steps. Step number 1, we should ask a question, prefer a deep question. Step number 2, we should paraphrase. We should summarize it in our own words, what the other person said to us, to show that we really hear them. And then in return, they will want to hear us. And step number 3, maybe the most important one, is do we want to verify? We want to ask if what we paraphrase is what the receiver asked. Because if not, we should repeat our paraphrase. And if he said yes, we can open a new loop. So this is an example of someone that asked a question, got an answer, paraphrasing his one word, got a verification, okay, that what he said is what he meant, and then ask a new question, open a new loop. So this is looping for understanding. So we have been covering some few techniques in communication, but not all the discussion are the same. There are sometimes discussion, conversation that are really difficult, that when you as a manager needs to give a less positive feedback, or you have a conflict between you and someone else. So let's understand together how we can managing those challenging conversation or difficult conversation, there are people that calling it, and how can we deliver effective feedback. So first, let's understand what are those challenging or difficult conversations. Challenging conversations are about performance issues, behavioral issues, salary, other conflicts, layoff, of course, and other uncomfortable discussion. And why they are so difficult? Because people can get really emotional, and you are afraid to harm the morale of the team, and you are afraid to not understand or not get the right balance between the clarity and sensitivity. And in general, it's very uncomfort to talk about it. But I want to tell you that if you are, as a leader, okay, delay those difficult conversations, you are like creating a depth. Like your issues as a leader will become much, much bigger. They will not disappear. So you must, as a leader, have those kind of conversations. But you must do it, again, respectfully. So let's understand, before that, have you had those kind of conversations in the past? If it's yes, let's raise the yellow card. If no, let's raise the blue one. Did you have those kind of difficult conversations in the past? Yellow. Okay, so I see yellow. So yes, all of us are having those kind of difficult conversations in our career. So let's see how we can manage it. What is our roadmap? What we need to do? So first of all, we need to be prepared. We need to have a correct plan, how we want to start this conversation and how we want to end it. What are the obstacles that can be and how we can overcome it? Or we can ask those 4 questions. What we want that the person will know, what he will think, what he will feel, and based on all of this, what he will do. And we also can do it like in reverse engineering. Okay? If we want that the person that we're giving him the less positive feedback, what he will do, what he before that needs to feel, think, and know. Know and think, by the way, it's different thing. know it's more data that we are transferring to him, and think it's like the shift of mindset that can be. We need to create safety. It means that we need to do it privately. Of course, one-on-one, maybe we can let the person pick the right place at the right time. We need to let him know what is the benefit of the discussion, what is this for him and also for you. You need to tell him how proud you are from him. Like, you need to give him first a positive feedback. And you don't want to force the feedback. You need to ask for the permission. And when you got the permission, you can finally give him the feedback. So you need to communication effectively. So it's not a blame game, okay? You need to create a psychological safety to him. It means you can share and be vulnerable. It means that you can, as a manager, say what are your things that, as you can see it, what are your uncertainties, okay? And based on it, he will be open up and will share his uncertainties, and then will be much easier to talk. And we need to stop using the word you. Again, it's not a blame game. It's not you did this, you did that. We need to transfer it to use I. I, as a manager, see this, I see that, I think. And then you need to listen carefully to what he said. Not stop him, to listen until the end. And then also share the emotion. Check the body language of the person, how he is acting. And lastly, you want to collaborate on solution. This is the place to connect together on the action items, to pick together, to lead the discussion, and to create a follow-up, to understand together if the action items are really taken in action. So again, this roadmap works for me and my team, and I encourage you also to use it. So again, prepare yourself, create safety, communicate effectively, and collaborate with solutions. So what are our key takeaways of this talk? We talked about, right, presenting ourselves as we really are, the elevator pitch. Second thing, we want to connect with people by having the same type of conversation, right? 3 types of conversation, and the matching principle. After it, we want to ask deep questions for meaningful conversation. After it, looking for understanding. So you want to hear someone, to paraphrase, and then you want that the person will want to hear you in return. So this is a really good technique to connect with people. And lastly, we talked how we can managing challenging conversation with preparation, safety, effective communication, and agreed solution. So I want to leave you with a thought about the age of AI. So we are in the age of AI, so what is the real place of the human beings in the AI? Yes, AI can lead you or can help you move much faster. It can do an amazing things like summarize meeting, for example, and other things. But what is our role today as agile leaders? It is to connect, is to feel, is to influence and impact people with conversation, with safety, with create coalition, with really hear each other deeply. So we can do it by having an amazing human communication skills, because we are the champions and we are super communicators. Thank you.
high-quality software experience from the UK, Turkey, and Azerbaijan. So, quick information about Vahid Bey. He is Azerbaijani British software engineering expert with 25 plus years of industry experience in agile and lean practices, software testing, test automation, and AI-assisted QA. He works with companies across the UK, Azerbaijan, Turkey, and beyond that.
How it
and
went?
Frequent speaker on the international testing events.
Yes?
You want to do photos?
Software
Yes.
engineering,
Some photos
training the next
outside.
generation of engineers. Please welcome Mr. Vahid Gerisoy.
Okay. So of course I will speak